time, because now kids have been doing it, it's easy to identify the talent. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Tony Nganga, coach, baseball 5, and the captain of the national team, Harry Kilibwa. They won the East African Basketball 5
championship.
Yes, the Baseball 5 championship. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank
you.
Well, right now, let me move over to the UK, and we're joined by Professor Dr. Shilak Lunga. And good morning, Professor.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, I'm very well. Thank you for your time. I can see it's quite sunny out in the UK. So, first of all, congratulations on being appointed the safeguarding coordinator for the Africa Judo Union. Let's go through this because we have just about 7 or so minutes. Let's talk about this, the role that you're now going to be taking up with AJU.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, doc. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to, so it has to be intentional. And having a background of protecting human beings and protecting the public is what I do for a living from a mental health and health aspect of things. So I think this is such a privilege for me, because I am sure and I know part of my role and responsibilities would be policy development and implementation, training people to a certain capacity to notice if there are any safeguarding kind of mishaps that are going on within the judo sport. And I also, what I'm going to be doing is monitoring each country with regards to safeguarding in how they're carrying themselves out. And also I will be supporting and doing advocacy and working in collaboration with each country in our continent, which is 54 federations in the continent.
So, Professor, just give us the key areas of safeguarding, because there are those who will say it's protecting the child from harm, but others is also helping a child who's picked up judo, for example, when we've got the cadets and intermediate championships at the African level, or those who are getting into, or who before they break into the senior levels. What are the key areas that you look at to ensure that these young children, especially the young athletes, are protected and they grow well into the sport?
I think the key things that I will be looking at, and as well as teaching and informing people, I call them the 5 R's. So I'll be teaching people how to recognize if safeguarding is happening. And this is by looking at signs and behavior that may indicate abuse. Yeah, so abuse, neglect, those are part of the things that I'll be looking at. I'll also be teaching individuals or organizations or the federations how to respond appropriately and to make people feel safe. I will also be teaching them how to report immediately to safeguarding leads, because my aim is to have safeguarding leads in each country down to the grassroots levels. Yeah, I will also be looking at how do they record if there's a safeguarding happening, if there's abuse, if there's neglect. How do we record if our children within judo are being protected? So, and this recording has to be precise, accurate of the alleged abuse, and it has to be factual. It is not based on feelings, and ones that can be clarified. And lastly, we will have within the federations, we will have referral where people can be referred to. So I will have safeguarding leads and working in collaboration with governmental and non-governmental organizations, where if a safeguarding is happening against the child, there are those 5 R's that needs to be acknowledged.
Well, and looking at how this has been going on, what has been the biggest culture change, even before you took up this role? What has been the biggest culture change that you have seen with the sport in a changing world, where there is a lot of focus on protection of the individual and also the importance of mental health, especially for athletes?
I'm glad you brought that up. The one thing with judo and what actually made me gravitate to it, it's the holistic approach of it, where we just not only focus on the physical element of children, but judo in itself has got I'm just going to mention four core values, where we teach respect, we teach discipline, we teach perseverance, and we also teach humility. So those are the fundamentals that actually the children can take from the tatami, which is where the fight happens, or rather I call it fight, the physical element of it, and take those values onto the society. That is our blueprint. And in a society where everything is quick fix, where I call it the microwave generation, where everybody wants things instantly, we do not have, and our children are not, they don't have the resilience that we had as we were growing up. Judo is reintroducing this, but combining it and amalgamating it with sports, where we are mixing the physical, the mental, emotional, psychological, and I'm talking as a neuroscientist. I know about the neuroplasticity of a child, where if you start it at the child level, you know what the Swahili says, samaki mkunje angali mbichi, au sio?
All right. Well, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sheila Kalunga out in the UK. Thank you for that. The 5 R's, we will not forget them, and the 4 values from judo, and making sure that they are introduced this. All the best in your new role as the safeguarding coordinator for the Africa Judo Union. Shukran sana for being with us this morning. Thank you. Yes, Professor Sheila Kalunga, AJU safeguarding coordinator, telling us about protecting emerging athletes in judo. Thank you for being with us this morning on Sports Check. Well, time for me to sign out. Our sign language interpreter has been Susan Thuku, and coming up next is Kurunzi Mashinani with Kasichana Masha. Have a good day.